Hello everybody, we just finished watching the 8th episode of the Chainsaw Man anime, and today it's time to, well, talk about the topics brought up in the episode, break them down, and talk about guns.
Cool.
You ready, Jaden? I've got Jaden here with me.
Yep, that's me.
I'm Corbin, and like I said, they were going to be talking about Chainsaw Man episode 8. This episode, I about said chapter, oh no. This episode is titled Gunfire, and it covers chapters. So last time I said that it covered all of chapter 21, right? It sort of got to a rushed conclusion last episode, and they left a lot of dialogue out, which gets brought in this episode, which means this episode technically has like the last section, like few pages of chapter 21 in it, and then we go to about 25 and a half.
Yep.
Can't end off on regular chapters, can we?
Oh, dude, the cliffhanger devil's the real enemy here.
Cliffhanger devil is not too bad here.
Okay.
I mean, where it was really bad was whenever Denji drops into a hole and
yeah, the one in episode 6 was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, here what we end off on is not really anything too much to note on.
Alright.
What'll happen next episode in the first 20 seconds, it's gonna happen. And so like this covers about 4 chapters, and without further ado, I say we get started.
Yep.
This episode starts off with Helmeno stuff, right?
Yeah, they kind of do like, this wasn't in the manga, was it? Just extra
yeah, there's a lot of
crap.
extra scenes put into like the first 4-ish minutes of this episode.
Yeah, it's like, it drags, man.
Yeah, to all get to the point of, alright, Helmeno brought Denji home, Helmeno's going through her day, she's drunk as shit, happenings are going on, Denji wakes up, Denji's mumbling for water, we see the point of view of Helmeno coming into the room.
And the point of view of Helmeno is rough. It looks pretty bad. The CGI in this episode, whew, you can tell, man.
Yeah, it's definitely there. I mean, there's no way to go around it.
I was talking with my friend Jacob. Every scene that is not a character is CG. Every background CG. And all the furniture and whatnot CG as well.
Well, in plenty of anime, they do that, right? But also, like, CG is, like, whenever you're going to have, like, a revolving area, right?
Yeah.
Like, to break this off, Gintama, right?
Okay.
It's got one episode where at the end of it or beginning of it, I don't remember, there's this whole thing where the character models weren't turned on, right? So all you see is just the characters talking and, like, the camera shifting, right? But just a CG background, right? But that's the Odd Jobs Gin Shop, right? That's, like, the main place about it, right? So that makes sense to be CG.
Yeah, or like Demon Slayer with the rotating room. They were really able to pull off the CGI, and that one looked good.
Rotating room.
The devil with the demon with the drums in the very beginning, like episode 5.
Oh, jeez, yeah, I forget about that.
Yeah.
I totally, like, forgot. Like, whenever I think of Demon Slayer, it's, alright, selection exam, Ruri, train. And that's what's been animated, right? Like, oh, jeez, I totally forgot about those 2 demons that... Devil. No, they are demons.
Yeah,
they are demons. It's Demon Slayer. It's not Devil Slayer.
Alright.
Yeah, and then we see that after the shaky CGI, Helmeno lays down with Denji, and she's like, wanna do it?
Yeah.
And this is, wanna do it was included in the last episode, right? That's what happened. At this point, you got something to mention?
I think it comes after the opening, but there's a scene where Himeno straddles on top of Denji, and you can see the lines of her character being drawn by the different artists that do the panels, like the in-betweens and the actuals. It's rough. Like, it looks like 7 deadly frames.
7 deadly frames. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, this scene at the beginning is, in my opinion, the worst of the episode. I know for some people, they're getting their pants off to this,
Oh, they love it, yeah.
They're going so hard. But as a fan, it's just... I like to read Chainsaw Man for the story, right? This is part of the story, and it's fine, but, like, this is one of my least favorite parts in the manga, too. Well, it builds up a second. We'll get there. Opening kickback by Kenjiro Suda.
Okay, next.
It's good opening, I don't know. After that, Denji's like, huh? What are you talking about? And Helmeno, in one of my favorite panels in the manga, Helmeno, it's just the full panel, and there's just this massive word bubble where Helmeno just goes, sex, right? And it's this time Denji's like, huh? And Denji throughout this sort of thing is thinking about stuff. He's like, do I want Himeno to be my first? I mean, sure, he robbed a kiss from me. And he's just thinking through all this, and he's like...
He's barely on the edge of actually being awake.
Yeah. And he's there, and he's like... And Himena's like, all right, put your arms up. I want me to take your shirt off you. I want me to take off your pants and all that. And then this whole time's just like...
Oh. And there's no music or anything. It's very very sensual.
Oh, yeah, it's all of it. And then as Himeno is taking... Christ, son, as Himeno's taking off Denji's pants...
Yeah.
He's got this, like... What they call it a Koopa Chop. A Chupa Chop or whatever, right? In my mind, it's like one of those fucking dum-dums.
Yeah, it's a dum-dum, yeah.
Right, and there's one of these in his pocket, and we go to a flashback where Denji was feeling bad. Makima bought some stuff from him from the store. She had one of these in her mouth. Denji was really down bad, and she gave the Denji's an indirect kiss with Makima, right? Oh boy, saying pretty much that Denji's first kiss tastes like barf. His first indirect kiss tastes like this. Whatever. And then we see that Denji has rejected Himeno's.
Yeah. He says, man, I want the first of my score to be with Makima in typical Beavis and Butthead fashion.
And then what happens next is Denji's with Fuchida, and he's just like, what would he say? He's like, oh, Fuchida, I know you probably wanted to score.
I wanted to score, yeah, that's gotta be a reference. That's gotta be a reference for the translations. Because have you ever seen Beavis and Butthead?
No.
No, okay. They always go, I'm gonna score. That's the whole joke. So I'm 100% sure it's a reference to that.
Cut the next morning, Himeno wakes up Denji and they go outside to talk, right? And pretty much the long short of this is they decide to form an alliance, right? Himeno will help Denji get with Makima if Denji helps Himeno get with Aki.
Man, I sure hope this promise does get resolved.
Oh yeah, I mean Denji and Aki, or Denji and Aki, fuck yeah. This episode's being titled Denji and Aki, okay. Power couple.
I can't say power couple because that's another character.
Oh, whatever. They pretty much make this alliance, right? Pretty much, and there's a whole note where the two of these two characters have become good friends. They're not just co-workers, they're more than co-workers. Right? At this point, we cut to a train, right? We see that Makima is on her way to Kyoto, right? And we see her assistants there with him, right? And this entire time, there's this tension thing. The music is pretty much cut out, right? Makima's just sitting there, and we see the people around her sort of rummaging around, right? Getting ready for something, right?
By the way, before we get to this, was Makima's assistant on a smartphone?
I think. Good point. That's a really good point. Now
I noticed people with smartphones in this.
Yeah, and this series is canonically like 80s, 90s?
Unless it's an alternative history where the Soviet Union's still around.
I forget.
And Denji watches that, later on, he sees that there's a vintage TV.
There's something, Jaden, look up whenever this series goes.
Okay.
Because it's something like that. It's some sort of alternate dimension sort of
I noticed they were using smartphones, and I'm like,
Yeah. Good point. But pretty much Makima is on the train to Kyoto. People rummaging around, and there's this massive tension that's built up this entire time, right? Silence goes on, and all of a sudden, the train is going through a tunnel, and all of a sudden, all these people pull out their guns, and bang, 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 kill Makima.
Oh no!
What are we gonna do? Right, Makima's dead, right? And then these people here are like, all right, Team C, we are a go, right? And as we go around here, there's this very somber music that's played throughout this entire thing, right? As we get cuts to all of these members that we sort of met last episode, right? I don't care to remember their names, because if you got what just happened here, guess what's going to happen to them, right?
Kobeni dies.
No, well, we'll get to that. We see all these characters, and we also see Kobeni and Arai doing stuff, right? Kobeni and Arai are, like, walking down. They're getting directions from, like, this granny-looking character,
yeah.
Right? And it's this whole thing where all these characters are around, and, like, as Kobeni and, what's his name? Arai, as they're walking away, all of a sudden this granny turns on and pulls out a gun, and there's a unanimous fire everywhere in the city.
Yeah, and you hear two gunshots.
As all of these devil hunters are.
Okay, so I found out that Chainsaw Man takes place in 1997, but it's an alternate reality where the Soviet Union does still exist.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah, for him to have like good working smartphones in that time.
That's strange.
I mean, good working smartphones for us were when?
It's 2008. That's when
yeah,
the iPhone came out.
Yeah, 2008, 2010-ish, right? So, what's going on here? Is the cell phone devil not been killed yet or resurrected? I don't know. Pretty much just unanimous fire happens. We see that Denji, Power, Aki, and Himeno are all eating at like a ramen shop, right? They're all eating, and Denji's like, I wonder what that sound was, right? There's some chat around, and then probably my favorite line of the episode. Power's here with him, and Power looks to Himeno and to Denji and's like, so did you two really not mate last night? Right? It's just such a good line, knowing Power, right? And everyone's like, Denji's such a gentleman, right? And as you're going on about this, there's this man sitting over in the corner, right? And he talks to the group here, right? And he says, how can you eat the ramen here? The taste for you should be off. And then he's like, well, it figures you would be eating shit. You've eaten shit from a young age, right? And Denji's like, who the fuck are you? We don't care, right? Yeah. All of the characters are like, just fuck off, right? And this character continues to say, you know what? My grandpa was a Yakuza. Most people thought what he was doing was obviously wrong, but he was a necessary evil for this country.
He said he was a very nice man. He only killed a few women and children.
Yeah, and he's like, but he was a necessary evil in this country, right? And at this point, Denji hears his grandpa, and he sort of catches on along with the Yakuza. He looks over, and he's like, what the fuck do you want, right? And everyone's like, do you know this guy? And this dude in the ramen shop is just like, I loved him. I know you loved him too, right?
Yeah, he said his name as well.
What?
He says
Denji's name.
So it's obviously
right?
He knows him.
And Denji's like, again, like, hey dude, what the fuck do you want? I don't care. And he continues to say, the gun devil is after your heart, right? As all of a sudden, he pulls out a gun and shoots Denji straight in the head and shoots a bunch of people, right? Before we get on to the rest of this, I want to mention something. On Twitter this morning, I saw a great new meme format where the guy just, whenever he pulls off the photo, right? The photo's on green screen, right? And he's like, Denji, you loved him too, or you love this too, right? And then as soon as he shows a picture, we get a picture of Denji, and then the guy just pulls out a gun and shoots him, right? It's just, and it doesn't have all the filler this has, right? Yeah. But it's just really funny, just straight to the point, just, that was perfect. At this point, Power comes over, punches this guy in the face, right?
Power actually does something heroic for once in her life.
Yeah, and then she's like, hey, Top Knot, as Aki uses Cone, and he uses his fox to eat this dude.
So, I just remember something. You know how many millions of dollars or hundreds of lives he may have killed from that one building destruction? That was totally worth it. Absolutely, for one guy. You know.
Yeah, just for Denji.
Just for Denji.
Just selling their soul to a literal devil just to murder one dude.
Just collapsing an entire fucking building.
And hey, he's collapsing the entire fucking economy too. I mean, look at that. Cone is used, and Aki sort of looks around. Himeno has been shot straight in her chest, right? Like, she's not looking good whatsoever, right? And then Cone makes a few remarks. He's like, Aki Hayakawa, you have disappointed me. This time you put something in my mouth that is neither human or devil. Dun dun da 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 dun. And as Cone is saying this, Cone gets sliced into by this guy who is turned into the Katana Devil.
Oh man, it's like the Chainsaw Devil, but Japanese.
For Katana.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool.
It's stupid.
I do have to say, I like the Katana Devil's like train operator uniform.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. And like, I think the design for the Katana Devil is pretty good. Before we get on to this, actually no, we'll get on to it. Battle ensues between Aki and this Katana Devil, right? And we see that Aki has brought out this stake, this sword, right? And he is pretty much, and it's pretty much a curse sword, right? He pretty much holds it, and then he says, all right, curse, go. And the curse sort of flicks this sword into the target, and it counts down from 3 to 0. After 3 hits, pretty much what happens is the curse crucifies whoever's touched it.
Yeah, it has this crazy eldritch horror looking thing.
And in this case, it's the Katana Devil here, right? And the Katana Devil is now dead. Dun 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 dun. Right? And Aki makes a note of, he had a gun. That ain't possible, right? And as Aki's thinking about this, he's like, all right, power, heal Himeno, right? Quick. This girl appears, right? And she pretty much describes the Curse Devil for us viewers, right? And this girl walks over to Katana Devil and just picks him back up and says, hey, do you know why you lost here today? And he's like, I underestimated him real bad, right? And at this point, the girl's just like, all right, you know what to do. Kill him. As there's this really cool shot of Aki sort of holding his sword downwards, right? As a Katana Devil does the anime thing of running through him, appearing behind him.
Already cutting him, yeah.
Already cutting him, and just staying there. And there's like a 10 seconds where Aki's just there like, for blood just comes gushing out, right? And the girl's just like, he's not dead yet. They have sturdy suits here in the industry, right? Foreshadowing, Jaden. Sturdy suits. Wonder how this is going to be used again. Never? Look at that.
Okay. Typical Chainsaw Man.
Yep. And pretty much at this point, Himeno's just like, oh no, Aki's gonna die, right? As she's like, all right, Power, can you help deal with him? And Power's like, I ain't doing that shit. I couldn't even look at that shit, right? And as she's like, hey, Ghost Devil, can you try? And the Ghost Devil's like, No, I'm not doing that. And at this point, Himeno makes a deal. In the anime, this is worded like fucking shit. In the manga, it is worded a whole lot better. In the anime, it's like, hey, I'll give you all I have. Give me all you have, right? Mm-hmm. In the manga, it's, I'll give you all of me, so you give me all of you. Yeah, I think the manga just has a way better way of describing that, right? I'll give you all of me if you give me all of you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all right.
As we see this deal has come out, and we see Ghost's true form. The Ghost Devil has this really weird design.
Yeah.
It's a Chainsaw Man design.
It is a cool animation how Himeno slowly starts losing parts as it grows.
Yeah, yes.
I thought that was pretty cool.
And there's this sort of speech here, right, where she's like, Aki can cry. And she goes about, like, how Aki would always cry for his comrades in disguise, right? Like, he'd never make it public. And this whole thing is that, like, as Himeno's going there and she's like, all right, go attack. And she goes to reach out for one arm. The arm disappears. The other arm disappears. Everything just slowly goes, right, as this speech happens. As the Katana Devil is just being overwhelmed by this devil, right? And Himeno's just like, Aki, whenever I die, I just want you to cry for me.
Sure.
I like this. I think it's really good. In the terms of the series, I think this works. Of course, Himeno's dead here.
Yeah. Gone.
As we'll see at next episode, most of these characters are dead. Not all of them. Of course, he's going to survive, right? Aki survives. Power's going to survive. A few other characters are going to survive, right? But Himeno's truly dead here. She used everything she had to try to protect something that she cared for. I think that's cool sentiment. At this point, this girl, we learned that she's a snake devil. Uses a snake devil to decapitate the Ghost Devil.
Just obliterates it.
Completely murders it, right? And at this point, Himeno's just completely disappeared.
Well, he doesn't even decapitate it. He bites off everything but the head.
But the head. Yeah, head falls. And the snake devil's got this really weird design where it's like all of these hands that grasp together for the mouth. And to open up, it opens up all of these arms to bite, and it closes all of them back together.
And did you notice?
It's a really trippy design.
When she desummoned it, it just blinked away.
The ghost?
Yeah. It was like a frame. It was just going.
Yeah. This snake devil was CGI as fucking all hell. Oh my gosh.
Everything is.
Ah, jeez. At this point, Himeno's gone, and we see Aki cries for Himeno there, right? As we see Himeno's eye patch in her clothes as the episode fades out into existence. Ending theme, First Death by TK. I didn't really like too much.
I didn't like it.
It's a song, it hasn't grown on me yet. I'm sure over time it may,
so far, it's my least favorite one.
I'd have to agree with you. Right, like, I just didn't really like too much. So, what do we want to mention about this episode? One thing I want to mention, sound design again was fucking A+.
Yeah.
It was great.
It always is.
It was great. Like, whenever the unanimous gunfire was happening, great choice for music, right? I think the music just works all around.
Yeah. There isn't a lot of music, though. Like, they use it very sparingly.
Yeah. CGI.
The CGI in this episode is the roughest so far.
Things I don't understand. The Katana Devil did not have to be CGI.
Yeah.
Snake Devil, I understand, right? I can understand that to a certain degree, right? Especially with how it'll be used later. Ghost Devil, was it CGI?
All of them are.
Yeah.
I mean, they all are. I think my problem is that in this episode it's more prevalent than ever because it's in every scene.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
There's CGI in nearly every scene.
And like the backgrounds don't have to be CGI. Like, it at some points it just looked off. I mean, like as an episode that really should have more going for it, I think last episode was, I mean, for the past like episode 6 and episode 7 of Bleach were perfect, right? Of this arc of Bleach, I don't think we found like a truly perfect episode of Chainsaw Man yet.
Yeah. Well, I'd say episode 7 was...
Last episode?
I'd say episode 7 was really good.
Yeah, but to me, like, content-wise, I love the ending of this. I love the way they animated the fight with the katana. It's just really good all the way around. And I think it could have been better, but it's just not.
So, before we started recording, me and Corbin were having something about, this is the beginning of Chainsaw Man.
Yes, this is the beginning of what Chainsaw Man is for the rest of the series.
Yeah. Kind of like JoJo, how part 3 is when it really comes into its own.
Yeah, and like this is where the series comes into its own. I personally like this. I think it's were you expecting for this episode for almost all of your main characters to die?
Well, I've read the manga, but when I first read it, it was a surprise.
It was very shocking, right?
Yeah.
And as a new reader, it's very shocking for most people. And I think that's what it's supposed to be here.
Yeah.
It works for the effect.
Yeah. I hate where Chainsaw Man goes after this. I think it loses... It goes so off the walls. I mean, would you say that the story is unfocused?
No.
I feel like it jumps just around in whatever it feels like at any given moment, all the time.
I think it's all linearly built up. First episode, introduction. Power's introduction to Naki's introduction. Right? Infinity Hotel. Right? Start on the Gun Devil stuff. This arc builds up on the Gun Devil.
Yeah, but I just feel like things come out of nowhere. Like Magami just gets shot. The Katana Devil's just there. The Snake Woman just shows up and kills everything. It's very...
But I get most of it's meant to be like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, but that's my problem. I feel like you shouldn't be having to ask yourself that all the time.
So do you think it should have been like shown how like the Snake Devil got there? Or like how the girl got there?
I'm not sure how I would fix it, but I feel like...
I think this is fine. It's meant for the... Alright, they're clearly trying to kill everybody. The Katana Devil is there to kill Denji, since he's got a grudge getting in Denji, and he's got the chainsaw heart, right? That makes sense, right? Sitting in the ramen shop. Then there's the battle ensues, right? The Snake Girl just shows up, but she was probably there to begin with, right? It's like she appears from nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is when Chainsaw Man becomes Chainsaw Man, and as a result, I don't like it. Because I personally do not like Chainsaw Man.
This is where I like it a lot more.
So, my final rating, and I'm going to go ahead and give that 2 out of 10.
Really?
Maybe 3 if I was feeling generous, but it's pretty bad.
Okay. The way I look at this, first part of the episode, I'm not too big of a fan of, right? The whole thing of, oh, hey, you want to fuck? Whatever, right? I really like the ending of this episode, and, like, everything all after when Makima gets shot is, I think, peak fiction in my mind. Because the beginning serves a purpose, I'd probably give it a solid 7.
Okay.
Right? And that's what I rank Chainsaw Man as in general. It's about a 7. So.
Really?
I think this episode did what it needed to do. Not the best looking, but it was there.
Yeah, I think that the CG dragged it down a lot for me. That's one of the reasons why my ranking was so low. I think if it looked good, it would still only get maybe a 4 or 5 at most. But I'll go ahead and tell you, most of my reviews from here on out are probably going to be pretty negative. So just know that. We've had a good streak until the barf kiss. That's the best scene in the series. It's downhill from here.
Well, I think you're wrong. This series has the best fight of all time and the best way to get revenge of all time. We'll see you next time. This is Glowplasma231
See you guys.